How am I not challenging myself? So many people take upon useless challenges, and they think that that's exactly what makes it valuable. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's valuable. Well, I went to fucking college for 10 years. You want to know something? I spoke to a PhD the other day in psychology. She's on 3 things that completely deteriorate people's psychiatric ability and their overall psychology as a whole. She's on birth control, she's on antidepressants, and she smokes weed every day. And then when I asked her why she's on those things, she immediately attacked me saying I have no credibility. So I responded to her saying, okay, it seems like we're not having a conversation here, because even if I've helped more people than you have in all of your clinics, you would still think that I haven't helped enough people. So let's not have this conversation, shall we? So I learned something, and it was like some people think that just because you work hard for something means that it's valuable. That's not true. It's valuable when it's personal. It's valuable when it means something. It's valuable when it challenges you. I want to speak French. Do I want to speak French like a professor? No. I want to speak French to my own satisfaction. I want my body to be built to that satisfaction. I want my business to be built to that satisfaction. I want my greatness to be accessed through the things that I do every day. And I want to be able to build it continuously through being able to give. So the process of that builds me, then let's sign me up. You won't look for a girl to settle for less for. You'll look for somebody that challenges you. You won't look for friends that feed your ego. You'll look for friends that break it. You won't look for people that tell you nice lies. You'll look for those that tell you the harsh truths. And you'll find beauty there, because there's only beauty when there's truth. Because then it's just fantasy, and it's just projection, and it's just mommy issues. And it's just daddy didn't give me enough love. And it's broken. And it's disorderly. There really wasn't so much to talk about today, more than the fact that maybe we should be more inspired about life. Maybe we should realize that the way that you go about these things are probably what make it difficult. There's other ways to do it, but you give up on the idea so damn quick. If I let school determine the way that I received information, I'd be an idiot. I'd be in Vegas stripping, because that's all I'd be good for. Because that's the kind of frame of mind that's taught to young children out there. And that's inherently embodied by parents. And it's all rooted in fear. Doubt in themselves. And they see that same doubt in their children. And then they get scared. And they poison their kids with fear. And they send them to systems that they grow off of fear. And then they grow into lives that are only fear-based. And you think that you get a moment to live? No. You survived every damn day of your life. And then when it comes time to your death, even that's still something you're fighting against. Good men, people that live fulfilled life, don't fight death. They never have. They learn from it. And when it's time, it's time. They can let go. So yeah, you learn these things through films. You learn these things through stories. We think about how people access some of the most powerful emotions. How can you guys access the most powerful emotions? Art, music, stories. Through whatever form that is. That's how we access emotions. And I want you guys to do that. There's going to be a list of movies that really, they inspire you. But I often notice that people are masturbatory with their inspiration. People are masturbatory with their sex. People are masturbatory with their education. Intention. There's something interesting I spoke about with a client the other day. We were talking about how important it is to speak what you want and what you are to others. About how you want to experience sex is what we were talking about. And I found it fascinating that most people can't even communicate how they would like to experience their own intimacy. Do you guys want to know what the bigger danger is? Not rejection. The danger isn't rejection, because you'll feel free that you can say whatever the fuck you like. The danger is that you experience that intimacy without knowing what created it. You experienced it without intention. Do you know what you're going to feel when you experience intimacy by accident? You're going to feel fear opposed to safety. When you guys know what you created, when you guys know you started the fire, there's no fear, is there? It was intentional. But when you see the fire and you smell the smoke and you don't know how it started, you scream. Same fire. Now you're just freaking out. And what ends up happening is you go, well, fire's bad. It burnt me one day. No, fire's what keeps you warm. Fire's what keeps you lit up, so to speak. Fire has energy. Cooks your food, sustains us. The most interesting element that we've ever done. To be able to harness an element was like the first sign of our evolution as human beings. And the first thing we utilized was fire. So crazy. Consciousness. Well, fascinating stuff. What was really interesting, though, is I realized that living a life with intention no longer makes you go, why was that movie inspiring? It allows you to know why it is, because it's a story about yourself, and all the characters there are you, not just the main one. And I think that's a really good way to start watching films, is don't just watch it from the centric point of the main character. Watch how the main character is being taught a story through everybody around it, and you're in the seat of the main character. And then you can start receiving so much more. So the intention of cinema can create such a long-lasting shift, because I believe that when a man saw a woman for the first time, he asked himself one question: how can I be better for that? And you're telling me that a woman is not the embodiment of art, and the embodiment of beauty, and the embodiment of inspiration, and that's what they embody? Absolutely, that's what they embody. It's how you can be better for yourself. And it's how you can be better, not because that's better than you, but because it inspires you to be better. Do you see the difference? A good woman inspires you to be better. Beauty in the world inspires you to be better. And you often kind of look around and you look at your habits and you go, well, how can I change these things? Guys, that's the easy part. The easy part is changing those behaviors and habits, because all you need to do is change your environments on a simple level and then make higher commitments, more responsibility. If you were too busy making 7 figures, you wouldn't have time to jerk off, right? If you were speaking to every other girl, you'd be too busy texting all of them. If you utilized your time, and if you actually believed yourself that you are worthy of this, because, by the way, this is an act of love, and men are drawn to it. They're like, this is so awesome. Go to boot camp, become a different man, become a better man. We'd be willing to sacrifice some things, including comfort. It's a really dangerous world we live in, because it gives you just enough to never fucking move. And the pain of paralysis, gentlemen, surpasses the pain of spiraling into fucking oblivion. The feeling of staying where you're at, in my opinion, there is no worse feeling in the world. If you're moving back, at least you could own up. Look, this shit's happening, bad things. But staying where you're at is a different kind of hell. As you kind of look around, it's numb. I want to feel something. And then you look to things to feel things, and perhaps you have drugs. Perhaps you should be grateful you're stressed. You have things to be stressed about. So let's kind of get into how we can start applying the things that we want to change, understanding that what we need in order to change is a very powerful emotion. And you need to have that powerful emotion against all odds. Why against all odds? Because there needs to be belief in something bigger. The driving plot of the story Count of Monte Cristo is God will give me justice. God will give me justice. And he engraves it on the wall for 2 years until the thing gets deeper and deeper. The movie's fascinating. I feel like just dedicate a whole fucking hour to that shit and see what it's actually teaching you. Damn, you guys have to go to school and do paperwork. Fuck off. I'm not learning something unless it's a guy on YouTube with flashing images telling me that I'm not good enough. How about you watch a film that shows you that you're just like everybody else? We all suffer insecurities. We all don't feel good enough to some extent, and we all have a desire to be better. Now, negotiate. Is this not feeling good enough going to determine the quality of your life? Or does it even matter? Probably doesn't. Doesn't matter. Because it's do or die at the end of the day, and it's always been do or die. It's been good or bad. It's been make those decisions. So, let's just kind of get into it. You know, let's see what you can change. Let's utilize some driving emotions, and let's anchor it to something. You know, I've embodied something, and I really want you guys to know this. This is one of my most powerful tools to change, is inherently the desire to change, the inspiration of what that is, and how that works, right? Okay, so I watched the movie Count of Monte Cristo. He doesn't have a beard. I shaved my beard. Now, you see there's like a little bit of that. I'm going to model that. You know why I'm going to model that? Because I believe there's greatness in it. I'll wear the fucking pirate coats. I don't care. I own a pirate coat. Now I love it even more because it feels more Victorian to me. So, and there's also things that I recognize that having a higher ideal, there's something really hard for me. You want to know what's really hard for me? Not FaceTiming chicks with their tits out. Really hard thing for me to do because I don't have enough time for them to come over. I don't care about them enough for me to fuck them. But I would like to see their tits. Do you understand? They're like, what am I doing? Okay, so what did I do? I bought something, a symbol. It's on my right hand. I jerk off with this hand. It's a blue bracelet. What does the color blue represent? Royalty. What the fuck am I doing? Embody higher ideals. So you think about change and how hard it is. Do you not desire it? Does it not burn up inside of you? Do you not want to rip apart a phone book? If you can't access that, then what are you looking for? You're looking for the same masturbatory existence. You're shut down. You know the thing about the Count of Monte Cristo and Joseph? They felt pain. They cried. They cried. And then when they stopped crying, they cried some more. And then when somebody came up to them, they smiled with love. And you ever wonder that? You're like, okay, well, I want it to rain hard, and I also want the sun to shine bright. Well, then you're going to need the heavy rains. Because have you seen a beautiful morning after? The sun does shine brighter. It clears the ozone out. You feel more of the UV. And it's like, okay, well, we need to create an unconditional relationship with myself. What is the driving emotion in your life? What is the figure of inspiration that you utilize? And how damn relatable is it? Because if it's not relatable, it won't make sense to you. Do you want to know how I saw that movie when I watched it when I was 10? Oh, he's like Batman. You know what? I watch it now? Oh my God, he's like me. And it's like, well, I want to access that. Why? Because I know I could be better. Now, this is the thing where a lot of you guys, if you've done a lot of the things that I've told you to do, you won't feel self-hatred when you say those words. I know, Alessandra, we spoke about that. You're like, I don't feel those words. I don't feel that hatred. I understand that it's possible for me. Do you want to know why you feel hatred? Because you don't believe it. You don't believe you can be better. So what do you think would happen if you said, I want to be better, and you have a shame that you will never be good enough? Do you think that you're going to feel good? No, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel like such shit. Because anytime somebody says improvement, you go, no, me, myself, I'm a bad person. And that's when you guys need to do the emotional work, and you could do it very simply. Why do I believe that? Why am I not good enough? It's one of my favorite things to ask clients. What about you doesn't feel like you're worthy? Right? Because, you know, my goal here isn't to make you guys the fucking top-notch winners by tomorrow. It's to make you believe that you will be, and that you can be, and that you are right now, and it's happening at this very moment. And there's presence, and there's beauty, and there's humanity, and there's humility. And then there's a dialogue between you and that higher power. And believe me, you won't question things in your life anymore. You'll start living it. So what's the powerful emotion? Write it down. What's driving you? What's driving you? What is the character that you are inspired by? We all are. And then once you understand what is that driving emotion, it's okay. If it has to be dark, let it be dark. But understand that you could flip the coin either way. There is emotions that we have. Why is it that you feel? And then the last question you guys have to ask is, okay, what's the emotion I'm feeling? What is the inspirational figure, so to speak, that I can embody? And then I think the last most important one is, why don't I believe it? Why don't I? Perhaps I never tried. That's why. I know men that are better than me. They don't believe that they're desired or desirable. I know men smarter than me who don't believe they can be wealthy. I know men with more determination that don't think that they can have life their way. And it's because they don't believe in themselves. Now, what does it mean to believe in yourself? It means to believe in a reality by which you are not a circumstance. And God did not just give you the indifference of nature. He gave you unsurpassable advantage and edge. Do you know that about yourself? Well, the reason why you don't believe in yourself is you never bothered to discover who you are. The character of the Count of Monte Cristo, or Edmund, was exceptionally naive. And by the way, he became more capable of love after he was thrown into the pit and had everything he had stripped from him. Because he knew more about love, and that it never leaves, and that it goes with you even throughout the revenge story. So, powerful driving emotion, what is that? Then you have inherently the person that you are modeling, the higher ideals. And then remind me of the last one, I totally spaced out. The air conditioning started blasting like a jet engine.
Why don't I believe it?
Why don't I believe it? Yeah, okay, why don't I believe it? So let me give you guys an example. I was 22 years old, and I want you guys to also understand this. This emotion to change is to get you to the next step. Once you're in the next step, it's a belief system. So you no longer need, oh, no, I gotta get hype. You don't need that anymore. It's you now. It's a part of your belief system to be better. So right now you need to accept, it is not in my belief system to be better. Why is it not in my belief system to be better? My life is an embodiment of survival. That's why. So I recognize this, and I started taking accountability. When I was 22, I can actually go pick up the journal. I could show you my first goal. And it was really fascinating to me because I recognized what I wanted. I was not happy with the kind of life that I had. I had so much passion to be better. I wanted to go into coaching. I wanted to go into motivational speaking. I wanted to be there for people. I wanted to actually share my psychiatric ability. I wanted to be able to share my storytelling ability. I just didn't feel like I was good enough, right? And I asked myself a question. Okay, millionaire by 24. Not a crazy idea. But I was 22 when I wrote it down. What did the self-help gurus tell me? Write it down and make it a reality. And so what I wanted to do was write it down, say next year. I couldn't. I could not do it. And I said 24. Why? It felt right. I could believe 24. I couldn't believe 22. But you see the difference here? And I was accessing this emotion. What was it? It was drive. It was ambition. It was hunger. It was desire. Right? Those are the emotions. It was conviction. It was passion. It was determination. And I felt all of those things just bubbling, and I could write down goals. And I could work a little bit harder, and I could talk a little bit more about money, and I could start sharing a little bit more of my psychology. And I was like, well, what's the ideal? Who do I need to embody? And I was like, well, the suit-wearing motherfucker, whoever that is, the person that could wear the divine garment, then wear it. Well, I'm afraid. The emotion, drive. Now, one thing you guys got to do, you want to have access to this emotion on tap? You make a playlist, and you can name it after the character you like. Or at the time, I had 2 characters. You could see it there. Or let me show you. It's kind of silly stuff. All right, so that's Sean Connery, James Bond on the left, and that's Ryan Gosling from Drive on the right. Okay, those were characters that I modeled at the time. So I needed somebody who was determined, emotionally unwavered, right? That would be Ryan. And then we have somebody who knows how to have fun and play around, but also get the mission done. You got James Bond, right? Now, what are these emotions? They're determination, it's passion, it's desire, it's resilience. It's the ability to charge through. And I needed that. I was afraid of going out. I actually had social anxiety at 22. How could a guy like me have social anxiety at 22? I'll tell you why. Expectations about a guy like me needing to be a certain way. That can give you anxiety really quick. Now, also I had expectations from other people, which was, okay, I gotta be this wealthy guy. Well, guess what? Why didn't I believe in it? If it was an expectation, let it be an expectation. But if it's something I know that can be true, the expectation doesn't matter, does it? Because my belief surpasses anybody's expectation. And so guess what? I started living. And that was at 22. I found my best friend at the time. He was Peter Pan, and I found that girl, and she was like Tinker Bell. Best way to put it. Couldn't take her forward. And I was inherently stepping. I felt the emotions so much, and I believe that the emotions are the most powerful thing to drive. Access those things and watch how determined you are. You'll say no to things far easier. And so that's kind of what I did. I made this playlist. And this playlist has all the songs that have absolutely changed my life. And anytime I play any of these songs, it helped me get out. It helped me move. It helped me embody the higher ideal. Before I'd go ahead and jerk off, I'm not joking, Alessandra, I would legitimately play this song. And I was helpless. I got up, I buckled my pants, I put the suit on, I went out, and I started flirting with chicks. I just couldn't. I saw it. It was clear as day. It was like, oh my God, I see it. I see me. Why is it we don't fantasize? We don't dream anymore. Joseph was a dreamer. And his dreams were true. But did they happen for him? No. Clearly, the big meet happened. He made the dream happen. He wanted all 11 bowing. He got all 11 bowing and then told the other fucking 10 to fuck off. You can make your dreams, right? And it's like so interesting. We're cut off from our emotions, which is why a lot of people are feeling more dim these days. They're more dim. They're not connected. Why? Because you don't allow yourself to feel and process the pain of your life. There's so much shit, but there's so much beauty. Can you see it? Why is it you don't believe it? Challenge that belief. Ask yourself, how much capacity do I need to build? Because maybe that's what you're lacking. Capacity, skills, and knowledge can be obtained. Lock yourself in a cellar and learn from a nice old man, and you can become a great man. Watch the fucking movie. Because guess what? It will show you something. It'll show you that if you focused on the fact that you lack capacity, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, he didn't know economics, he didn't know how to wield a sword, and he had nothing to do but build that into a reality. Is that hard? No. But you guys are just taking like generic shit. I want to meditate, journal, and shit. No. What is the thing for you that you need to know? What is that? Speaking ability, psychology, for me particularly, physical fitness. I need the ability to communicate with anybody. I need to be calm. I need to be steady. My whole life I was a complainer, a victimizer. I don't think people know that about me. I would victimize about everything. I was entitled. I complained. My brothers hated being around me. I could only be around people that sucked because that's the only time I felt good. But then I was never satisfied. And I'd chew them up and spit at them, spit on them, spit them out like a psychopath. It's wild, man. And when I started accessing these emotions, I asked myself one question. Why not? Why not? Why can't you have it your way? And I spoke this to one of my exceptional clients. And it's if you're brave enough to overcome the fear of rejection, you could have life your way. So where do we start, guys? There. So interesting. The wise old man is pivotal to the hero's journey. What does the wise old man show the hero what to do? To wield a sword, to use his mind, to use his mouth, to access his heart. What are we talking about now? Heart. You guys got to access it because that's where all the greatest warriors are ever made. Ones with heart. The greatest warrior biblically or historically is David. He's the singer, warrior, poet who was a king and had direct access. You want direct access too. And it comes through those emotions. So ask yourself, if you don't feel any emotions, what's blocking yourself from your emotions? Very good question to ask. After that, understand the character that you're resonating with. Why is it that character? Investigate it. Then, of course, why is it that you don't believe that it can happen? Because I asked myself a question. If I focused and I learned those skills and ability, and I started now, and I spent every fucking dollar I had towards that goal, I think that's the easiest thing I can do. Reframe. And that's where all the psychology tricks come in. You guys can use them. You probably don't need them if you have a brain, because you'll recognize that your life can be done your ways. You know why you guys don't want it done your way? Because it's easier to victimize. It feels good in your comfort zone. You don't need to challenge yourself. You can keep doing the things that you do, and you'll never have to change. And you can place an expectation on God until eventually you resent your own children. And you look at your wife and you go, fuck, you're ugly. If that's what you like, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to change it, open up. Where's the emotion? Access it. Listen to the song. Listen to the music. Move your body. Wake it up, because you're sleeping. Because if you weren't, you'd be doing something about it. Because then you would be seeing other people that aren't sleeping too. And then you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to do this alone. Because the Count didn't, or Edmund, Dante didn't. Joseph didn't. He was never alone. And that's the most beautiful thing about Joseph's story, that even in the pit, God was with him. And that's the thing that's very interesting. I know we often think that we're all alone. That's bullshit. You're not. The less you believe it, the less you will be. Because the most lonely people are the ones that believe they're worthy of being alone. So ask yourself a question. Why am I not enough?